evening. I will speak up as loudly as I can. Hopefully even the folks in the back can hear me with the teacher voice. Our first order of business tonight is approval of tonight's agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda is written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda as written. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Tonight's agenda is approved. Next up is approval from the December board meeting minutes that are in our drive.
Motion to approve December minutes is written. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the December minutes as written. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, those are approved. Next up is community voices. And so before we have our registered speakers speak tonight, a couple things. One, when it comes to personnel matters, we are not allowed by law to comment on any personnel matters. So please understand that ahead of time. Secondly, there's been a message going around that there will be mandated enrollment at Wake Tech. We're a little unclear as to where this started, but there will be no mandated dual enrollment at Wake Tech. We do have already the choice of dual enrollment at Wake Tech, and many of our students take advantage of that. We expect that to continue, but I did want to address that from the start. We will go in order of folks who signed up, and our first name is Ivan Ray.
All right.
If you would, sir, we have quite a few speakers signed up. If you would keep it to 2 to 3 minutes.
Of course.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, members of the board. As stated before, I'm Ivan Rideout, and I've been going to this school for my entire academic career. As a lifelong student at this school, I am deeply disappointed in the direction that this school is taking. Now, I have heard much said about the mandatory dual enrollment program, but assuming that it is true, as I've seen lots of evidence to support that claim, I believe that this is harmful and unacceptable for a group of educators to improve. As a school, we have a commitment to foster and support the children here, to bolster their education and their lives. This is meant to be a safe environment where children can develop at their own pace and experience the world on their own terms. You have failed to uphold this ideal, not only with the firing of Mr. Johnson, but also with whatever this dual enrollment program offers. And in doing so, you are failing the students and their futures. This program would take away autonomy from students, force them down a track they may not be able to handle. The decision should be left in the hands of them and their families. As I've stated before, I'm deeply disappointed in your decision to authorize this, again, as well as the firing of our principal, Mr. Johnson, whom I deeply respect. And as a student that loves this school, loves this community, and has deep ties to these amazing people and students, I vehemently oppose the direction that you, as a board, are taking. Thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Ivan.
Caleb Potter?
Caleb Potter? Yeah. Thank you.
I wrote my speech on the assumption that this rumor was true. And this button in my suit here. And on that assumption, you said that it was not true, and I respect that. However, I do have some questions about it. If it is not true, I question the slideshow that was shared in the October board meeting that the plan was outlined in which it stated that this new policy would take place in the 2025-26 school year, and it stated that it would essentially, I believe it said that it would take place in which all of the non-EOC core classes would take place at Wake Tech. That, to me, does not match with what the EWA Board are presenting to us today and saying that this rumor is untrue. Per Mr. Perillo's email to the school last night, in that it was stated that this policy would not take effect until I believe it was 2030, in full effect. However, in that aforementioned presentation, it says that it will take place next year. So really, those are my biggest concerns, as well as our recently departed high school principal, whom can never be replaced, no matter what. That'll be my.
Thanks, Kevin. Next up, Janice Pierce.
Thank you for letting me speak. I have a senior here at EWA, and my daughter just graduated 2 years ago. Both attended since kindergarten. A little about me: I'm a corporate executive for the largest skilled nursing provider in the state, but I spent over 15 years as a nursing home administrator, managing the care of thousands of patients and supervising the work of hundreds of employees. And I tell you this because my experience allows me to sympathize with the demands of a business that serves people. Managing unrealistic expectations, regulations, staffing, limiting funding, I get it. And I appreciate that tonight must be challenging for you. So thank you for letting your guards down and having open minds. Now, I understand that HR rules prohibit any details from being shared about Mr. Johnson's separation, but regardless, the way the information was released was really in extremely poor taste, in my opinion. Even if Mr. Johnson had committed a terminable offense, or just quit without notice and walked out. 3 sentences in an email sharing space with carpool changes was not a good choice for an announcement. Certainly there was a more respectful way to announce the separation to hundreds of kids that have long-standing and meaningful relationships with him. The email was so callous and compassionless. It made EWA the bad guy. It says, we don't care about his feelings, we don't care about the kids' feelings, we just don't care. I used to tell my employees all the time, what really happened doesn't matter. It's all about perception. Now, if I had to terminate a much-loved administrator who'd been running a nursing home for 20 plus years, you can bet your bottom dollar there would be many meetings, strategic planning sessions, and a PR-proof plan to announce that separation. And not just because I don't want a big stink, but because there's a community of people that depend on that person. Now, I haven't met Mr. Perillo, so I only have this single action and EWA community chat to formulate my opinion. But I know Daryl Johnson well. I've seen him at more school events than I can count. And for most of my children, and that same EWA community chatter, I've heard nothing but praise for years. So even without the details, a little deductive reasoning on my part is enough to make me say, hey, wait a minute, something ain't quite right here. I perceive injustice on behalf of Mr. Johnson, the students, and the staff. Now, in my role as an administrator, I've always found that no matter how many regulations or how tight the funds or how unrealistic the expectations, if I do the right thing for my residents and my employees, we always had good outcomes and people were happy. And over the past 15 years, I've been so proud to answer the question, so where do your kids go to school? But I'm not feeling real proud these days because I don't think we're doing the right thing for the students or the staff. Thank you.
Jacob Jacob is Stacy Wright. Hi, Stacy.
Hey. A dual purpose here, obviously, tonight. We are all very much mourning Mr. Johnson and his departure, especially those of us with kids graduating. We are going to be really sad that our kids won't have that final experience with Daryl and listen to him give them his words of wisdom before they walk across the stage. He's been an amazing part of my son's life, and I was very much looking forward to him being a part of my daughter's life. And I do agree with Ms. Pierce that the way that it was handled, the email that came out was horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. That is not the way I expect to be treated by anybody, and I don't think anybody up here would want to be treated that way if you left your job unexpectedly. I don't feel it's appropriate, and I don't feel it sends a good message to the kids here. And I feel like some tact and perhaps paying attention to your messaging might be in order when it comes to disseminating that kind of information. Secondly, John, you said that there is no plan to require this dual enrollment, and I'm not against a dual enrollment. Ivan has certainly taken his share of classes. What I'm concerned about is that the PowerPoint that was shared said that students, juniors and seniors, would be doing all their non-core classes at Wake Tech, which is fine if that's what they want to do. Lots of kids thrive on that extra challenge. It's not right for all kids because it's still a college class and these are still children. And they should be allowed to be children in this community that they've been a part of for 12 and 13 years. One of the things I have loved about the school, and I'm the first to own up to the fact that I don't always love everything about this school. This environment is so small that I know what my kids have done at school before they even get home. And that small town feel is so representative of Eastern North Carolina, rural Eastern North Carolina, and the towns that all of us grew up in. My own community is built with a lot of their faces in this room. I've known some of these men and women almost 15 years. And you want to take, at the very end, you want to take it and just scatter everybody to the winds. You're tearing out the heart of what makes this school the school that it is. Mm-hmm. I know y'all are trained not to answer questions, not to respond. And honestly, I really don't care what you think or feel about this at the moment. But at some point, you have to listen, because when I leave here, I'm going to gossip to all my friends about my school, just like everybody gossips to all their friends about their school. And y'all need to think about how what you do in those seats translates to the world out there. And I don't think it's a good look. Not right now. And if I could get Daryl Johnson back here in a minute, I would. When he left here voluntarily the first time, we brought him back. And you and I sat there in those discussions, John, and we talked about how beloved this man was, how positive his influence, and to see him thrown away the way that he was and then disrespected with a trash email, that's not what I want my kids to do.
Logan Lowry.
Good evening to the board and to everyone else. Thank you guys for coming out. My name is Logan Lowry. I graduated attending NC State University as a Park Scholar. Go Pack. A few factors, thank you. A few factors defined my time at EWA Academy. Most importantly, community, teachers, and individualized education define the high school experience that has created the Park Scholar standing here before you today. Not only did EWA nurture my love of learning, but it also made me a better person. A person who feels confident to go to faculty office hours, values and searches for community on campus, and is well educated and open-minded. Due to the educational, leadership, service, and character-forming experiences I had at EWA, I can say with confidence that I might not have been a Park Scholar had I not gone to EWA. EWA teachers constantly challenged and supported me, and I took advantage of the variety of courses offered to me, including AP, CCP, honors, and elective courses. Take it from a highly ambitious student. I often decided to take core, AP, or elective courses in person instead of advanced, higher credit-bearing online courses because I valued the small classroom environment that nurtured genuine connection and individualized learning at EWA.
Woo.
I'm still in contact with educators and staff that I value so much. The people who supported me then support me now. I wouldn't have given up the unique educational community that EWA has fostered to take courses at a school with more objective prestige. Yes, EWA Academy is a school of choice. Just as my own family has chosen to send their 2 children here for over 13 years, hundreds of other families have done the same. However, while EWA is a school of choice, we have to make choices that most equitably benefit our entire school community. After learning of the board's proposals surrounding the strategic framework, I took the time over my winter break to conduct a study. This study measures student and recent EWA graduate opinions on advanced coursework and also delves into what current and former students really value at EWA. I posted 2 surveys on my social media aimed at current EWA students and recent EWA graduates. The surveys were presented without leading information that may sway student responses, and all responses are anonymous. This means it is in line with the research ethics I learned about at AP Psychology in person at EWA. Therefore, this information should be accurately and ethically representative of student opinions. I encourage you to take a look at this study. I sent it all to you in an email. Direct student feedback should be involved in decision-making of this magnitude, not to mention the intentionally sought-out opinions and ideas of our respected EWA educators. We have been presented with arguably very vague information regarding the strategic framework, and it took losing a well-respected staff member for this information to reach the ears of the wider EWA community. I urge you to create and communicate very specific outlines that are extremely detailed regarding the expectations of upperclassmen in CCP courses. As an alumnus, I feel a pressing need to vocalize the ways in which EWA's one-of-a-kind community has strengthened me, and I hope it can continue to strengthen others in the same way. Thank you all so much.
Kayla Johnson.
So you all probably know me as Mr. Johnson's daughter, but I don't want you guys to think that I'm doing this out of bias, because if it was any of those other teachers, I would be talking just like this for them. My dad was a great principal who listened to his students and staff with the best interest at heart. What I don't understand is how you could all smile on his face one day and compliment him and just go and fire him the next. And you can't convince me that after 20 years he just wanted to get up and be like, oh, I just want to do something different. Because he didn't. Because he loved this job very much. He loved everyone who walked in here. He loves seeing the teachers. He misses his kids. He misses the staff. And he just took that away. This board, in my opinion, doesn't feel like represents me. 11% of EWA is black, and there's only 1.3% of black male educators in the U.S. When I look at this board, I see 2 women and everyone up here is white. I do not feel represented at all. May your family that I have seen the rumors about the lake tag, and even though you guys have said that it's not true, it seems like you're trying to make EWA into an early college school, and that's not what EWA is. If parents wanted their kid to be in an early college school, they would have put them in one. My dad advocated for students all over. There's so many students that have come to me personally sharing stories of how my dad has literally saved their life. And I just don't think you guys understand how dramatic the situation is and how much you guys have taken a toll of everybody in this community. I know you guys have said that there have been changes and it was just for the best interest of heart, but like many other people said, an email with just a couple sentences does not explain how he wanted to go out, and I will not stand for it. My dad, even though you guys probably can't do anything about it now, and he probably isn't going to come back, you can all at least give him an apology. I just feel like that's what he deserves at least. Because how can he put all of his whole entire life, his love into this school, and then just after that 20 years, you guys are like, nope, I just don't understand. I know you guys can't say anything right now, but if you could honestly give me some answers, I would love that. Thank you.
Skylar Miller.
Good afternoon to all board members and families and students that come out to meet me tonight. I had a long speech planned out that was written and everything. But honestly, I feel like I should speak from the heart because if anything I can work with is empathy. And everyone knows emotions are what change things. I have been a student here since kindergarten. I came here because of some family friends that had raved about how good everything was. And once further looking into it by my parents, it looked like a amazing school when Mr. Johnson's here. I've been here obviously a long time, and although, like previously said, I know you cannot talk directly about the staffing that has taken place in the removal of Mr. Johnson, but I know for a matter of fact, the second I stepped into the high school, it was a big change for me. Not only because I had new responsibilities and new expectations from me, but just because it was a new environment and I was a scared kid as a freshman. But one thing I did notice being here as a freshman was the immediate support I had from Mr. Johnson. As a freshman, I was obviously scared, and when he was throwing all these big words at us and everything, I was like, what is going on right now? But after a while, I noticed how the things he would say had made me grow as a person. I had always wanted to be a leader. Then I would join middle school student council because I wanted to be president. And I did all these things, but I was too scared. But one thing I noticed when I stepped into the school was that Mr. Johnson, his speeches, the things he'd say, him just talking to me directly, had given me the courage to step up into a place where I could be the person I've always wanted to be. I probably would not be in the places I am today that I have been before. This year, actually most recently, I stepped into the position of Unity Club President, which was a really big deal for me as something I always wanted to do. I took Logan Howard's spot. But I just know that with him talking to me, I would go to him about everything. Well, not everything, but I would go talk to him, and he would give me advice about things. He'd just be a friend. Not only he wasn't just a principal to me and to many others, but he was a mentor and a friend, which was very important. I'm a junior now. I'm president of Unity Club, and I'm doing pretty good in my classes, but I can credit that most of this has happened because of him. I'm up here talking because of him. I would not have the courage I have because of him.
Aubrey Edwards.
Hello, Board of Directors and attendees. If you do not know me, I am Aubrey Edwards, but I also go by Cooper Edwards. I am a son of past board member P.D. Edwards and PAL president. I graduated from EWA in 2022 and was part of Eagle Society. Through my years at EWA, I have seen multiple changes, promises, and accomplishments. One thing I've seen a lot in my years here is corrupt leadership within the admin positions, starting with Brandon Smith. From this, we all know how things proceeded, therefore, we do not need any more explanation on this. In middle school, we got a new building. We were all excited about it, and we had a very stern principal. Middle school is a crucial time for students to learn and grow, and to learn themselves. Personally, I felt trapped being in middle school, because there was no lean way with anything. It was done one way or not done at all. I didn't fight because I was only a child, therefore I didn't have a say. High school, there were multiple curveballs thrown at me. COVID, teachers leaving, and finding a new normal. During this whole process, I knew I could count and trust on one person, and that was Daryl Johnson. Daryl Johnson being one of the only person I could trust. He always had the student's heart at his best interest and would fight for us when he could. He always looked at perspectives through multiple different lenses, which is hard to do nowadays. He looked at it through a student perspective, an admin perspective, and a teacher's perspective. When I had meetings with him as NHS Vice President, he congratulated me on my hard work, but then also gave me details on how I could better improve them and overall be a better person with it. Again, reinforcing the idea that he only wanted the students to be better. Also, in my senior year, when I was stressed with taking AP classes, figuring out what college I wanted to go to, and being part of multiple activities on campus, I could always go talk to him whenever he could. He would tell me not to worry, and I would always be a good student because I had the drive and success and the work ethic to be there. He helped me push to a new limit that I didn't know I could reach. Now, I'm at Art College, double major in nursing and psychology, with being in the honors college. I also play men's volleyball. I help out with the dance and cheer team. And now I work as a CNA. In my opinion, this dismissal is wrong, and I believe wholeheartedly that EWA is losing a big part, if not the biggest asset to the school. Thank you.
Dear board members, in light of the Wake Tech information I just received from you, please take this as more of a precautionary message. Hello, my name is Sally Ishikawa. I'm currently a senior and student body president of the high school. I would like to address the concerning turn of events that have engulfed our school recently. Not only do I protest Mr. Johnson's removal, but I am disappointed in the way EWA has been conducting itself. For a board that is supposed to, and I quote, faithfully, competently, honestly, and fairly perform their duties in a way that best serves both school and student interests, I fail to see how forcing juniors and seniors to take classes at Wake Tech is best serving student interest. Not only does this policy unfairly force students to take college-level courses in an environment they may not want, but it alters their high school experience. Simply put, the student body didn't ask for this. The main negatives that the student body faces if forced to take Wake Tech classes are, including but not limited to, missing out on extremely valuable high school experiences, disconnecting with EWA altogether, less participation in clubs and potentially sports, less personalized and strong letters of recommendation from teachers, a reduction in social skills, an increase in loneliness, inability to comfortably attend a class due to location, lack of a personal computer, or other accessibility issues. And drastic changes in a student's schedule may challenge them unnecessarily when it comes to fulfilling graduation requirements. These are only a handful of consequences that could occur if students are forced to take classes online or classes at Wake Tech. I want to specifically focus on a lack of participation, recommendation letters, and the deprivation of a complete high school experience. We are a school that hosts a plethora of student-led clubs, and these clubs are usually ran by upperclassmen, and that is something we should be extremely proud of. By effectively removing half of the high school student population from campus, you are encouraging students to quit clubs they love. You are fostering an environment where commitment and exploration of student interests is no longer a priority. I can testify that my extensive list of extracurriculars, leadership experience, and club involvement has gotten me a multitude of opportunities. I can't say the same for my college level classes. I don't know what saddens me more about this whole situation. The idea that self-exploration and club involvement will become essentially non-existent for the high school, or the fact that it seems to mean so little to you. And if you're convinced that upperclassmen will return to campus once going to Wake Tech, just for the lunch period, you are sorely mistaken and deluding yourself. The one thing I love most about this school is its small population, and because of that, the amazing opportunity I have to connect with my teachers. The reason why I've been accepted into NC State, Meredith, UNC Charlotte, and other colleges, and gotten the opportunity to attend North Carolina's Governor's School is because of the extremely strong and personal letters of recommendation my teachers have given me. By removing upperclassmen from the building, you are effectively limiting their college application competitiveness. I want you to think back to your high school years. Those 4 joyful, fun, challenging, and amazing years of your life. Now think about what you would be depriving students of if you were to cut their high school experience short. It's unfair to the student body and to parents who intend to enroll their students in a K-12 school. I urge you to think about how best you can support and represent student interest here at EWA, like you were called to do in the ethics section of the board member agreement all of you signed. Thank you for your time.
Jessica Parker.
Hello, Jessica Parker. I have a freshman here and a senior, Caleb. Our staff is our greatest asset and the foundation of our success. This line should sound familiar to all of us because it is the second bullet point in the East Wake Academy vision statement on page 2 of the student handbook, which we all sign every year. And I think it's safe to say that all the parents and students in this room are here tonight because they believe that the staff at EWA is, without a doubt, our greatest asset and the foundation of our success. We are also here because we lost one of those great assets, our high school principal, Mr. Johnson. For nearly 15 years, Mr. Johnson was the backbone of the EWA Senior Academy. I had the privilege of teaching here for 7 years in the high school, and I can tell you, he was an exceptional leader. He lifted up his staff, he trusted us, and most importantly, he loved his students, as you've heard from many of them tonight. He was at every IEP meeting, every pep rally, every dance, every extracurricular event. The whole school mourns the loss of Mr. Johnson. We don't know why we lost him, but there are rumors and speculation. Rumor that he was let go because even to the end, he was fighting for his staff and for his students. Woo. Which brings me to the second reason we're all here tonight, and back to my opening statement. East Wake Academy staff is the greatest asset and the foundation of our success. We want our staff to teach and care for our kids, not the staff at Wake Tech Community College. So despite what John said tonight, which I appreciate, the reason the rumor is going around is because of what was said in the October 8th board meeting. Just last night, the high school families received an email from our executive director, Mr. Anthony Perillo, and he assured us that the current juniors will have minimal changes, before graduation, and that the broader and higher quality opportunities are coming for underclassmen. But Mr. Perillo, you said in the email that there are yet no specific plans to announce. I would like to know how that statement aligns with the presentation on the October 8th board meeting, because according to the minutes from that meeting, there was a discussion about collaboration with Wake Tech, including numerous projects for mutual benefits. I would like to read part of the slideshow that was presented on October 8th. Slide 15 states that juniors and seniors would participate in their non-EOC core classes at Wake Tech. Further down on the same slide says, potential expansion to early college track would allow students to begin pursuing credit as freshmen if they met certain criteria. And finally, most concerning was on slide 16, which said, scheduling to prepare for dual enrollment is set to begin in the 2025-2026 school year. These statements are confusing because we already offer dual enrollment, which many of our juniors and seniors currently take advantage of. So all of our question tonight is, what is going on? Why are these considered rumors when they were presented?
Potential outcomes of the recent decisions and how they align with EWA's values and strategic goals. Mr. Johnson's sudden dismissal, regardless of the reasons behind it, has already sparked significant concern among parents, students, and alumni. While I understand the need for leadership changes as part of growth, the timing and manner of this decision risks undermining several critical aspects of EWA's long-term success. First, the decision's impact on our alumni engagement efforts cannot be overlooked. We recently hired someone to spearhead an alumni association, a move designed to build lasting connections and to support the school. Yet removing one of EWA's longest-serving and most respected leaders sends a contradictory message. Alumni who credit their success to Mr. Johnson may now feel alienated, jeopardizing their willingness to engage with and support the school in the future. Is growth worth the cost of losing one of our strongest bridges to EWA's legacy and success? Second, staff morale and retention are essential for maintaining our strong academic performance. Decisions like these create uncertainty among faculty, potentially leading to turnover or a diminished sense of loyalty. How will we recruit and retain top educators if the message is that 20 years of dedicated service can end with a trash email communication? Third, the broader community impact cannot be ignored. EWA has always been a school of choice, but trust and community reputation are critical components of that choice. This situation has caused many families to question the decision-making of the school leadership and has caused damage to our reputation in the community. If parents and students lose confidence in leadership, how can we expect them to stay engaged and committed to EWA's mission? This move also raises broader concerns about the culture we're fostering at EWA. Are we prioritizing growth and change at the expense of the relationships and traditions that have made the school unique? Decisions like these don't just affect the present, they reshape the foundation of who we are as a school. Do parents and staff and students want this growth? Finally, I would like to emphasize that per the recent update, no major changes stemming from the strategic framework are planned for implementation this year. If this is the case, then why was it necessary to remove Mr. Johnson so suddenly? Allowing him to finish the school year, guiding his seniors to graduation, would have been the logical and respectful decision that upheld his legacy, the stability of the school, and our reputation within the community. It's clear that our strategic framework aims to position EWA as a leader in education, providing students with diverse opportunities to thrive. But leadership is not about stifling dissent or silencing differing viewpoints. It's about fostering collaboration, embracing diverse perspectives, and building trust. So I ask again, is this growth worth the cost? I see your strategic framework plan, and Mr. Johnson embodies every single one of those values. Is the growth worth it?
Laquita Johnson.
Good evening. My name is Laquita Johnson. I am the wife of Daryl Johnson and the mother of Caleb. I would first like to start by thanking every student, parent, and staff member who has supported Mr. Johnson over the years. Thank you for every phone call, every text message, every email received over the last couple of weeks. We are truly grateful. Tonight, I am here to set the record straight. Make no mistakes. Mr. Johnson was deceived by leadership and betrayed. He did not move on. He was pushed out.
Amen.
As a 20-year human resource professional, I am clear of the North Carolina at-will law and its language. My only comment to you is how you handle him. Your board stood by and tolerated this type of unethical and unprofessional behavior. Tonight, I will only speak of his legacy. Daryl Johnson is a native of this community. He holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He holds a master's degree in administration and supervision, an advanced degree as an educational specialist in general education. He is the president of the Triangle East chapter of the 100 Black Men of America, where he tutors mentors youth every other weekend. He also serves as a scholarship chair of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and he also serves on the board of the East Wake Foundation. He has served this school above and beyond his role as a principal. He gave up his first week of spring tryout to ensure that students could take driver's education. Not only has he written numerous recommendations and scholarship letters to support students in their college acceptance process, but he has also written letters to judges as character witnesses when students were in trouble. Daryl Johnson has made house calls and hospital visits, checking in on parents, staff, and students when illness and crises arise. He even provided emotional support during a suicide attempt. Together, we have attended birthday parties, holiday gatherings, weddings, and funerals of staff and student loved ones. Throughout the years, he has purchased out of his own pocket shirts, ties, socks, belts to ensure that male students had the proper dress for high school graduation. This school has been a part of my life for over 17 years. One of our first dates was attending the snowball at Eastwick Academy. We also attended board meetings and other types of gatherings here. When I was pregnant with my daughter, the Eastwick Academy administrator and staff gave us our baby shower on this campus. This situation has pulled our heartstrings, but we do understand that life does go on. But we also know that God does not allow us to experience anything that He will not allow us to have the victory in.
Amen.
The board and the executive director dismiss the best leader this school has ever known.
Yeah.
Now the blood is on your hands.
Andy Miller?
I think you called Sharonda Pruitt.
I did. Yes, sir. You
Okay,
go ahead.
thank you. My name is Sharonda Crudup, and I'm a proud parent of 4 EWA students. I'll start with this quote: education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it. Sadly, everyone is not in this for the children. Everyone's focus is not community. The dynamic of this community has changed tremendously since November 2022. However, in the Senior Academy, there is still strong support. There's still love, guidance, and attention to the students' best interests. Mr. Johnson loves those kids as an administrator should. Mr. Johnson didn't run the Senior Academy as a business. He ran it as a school, and the students were people, not dollar signs or just a number. I did a little research, and when I looked up when Mr. Perrello was asked to resign from his job in 2017, that he had been there for 11 years, according to the news article, he made it known how important it was to finish the year out. He said, according to this article, I plan to attend all events on the school calendar, including graduation and field day. Could Mr. Johnson not have that same courtesy? There was nothing that occurred that merited such an abrupt action. Putting your pride to the side and just taking a no is okay. Saying, okay, you're not going in the direction that we want to go in, and we have to release you in June, that would have been great. But just to dismiss someone because they don't agree with you and your plans, that's very low and is not respected, and I just want you to know that.
Andy Miller?
So I am appalled at learning the truth about Mr. Johnson. I think we've all kind of been left in a fog of actually knowing what actually happened. And so I'm trying to collect myself, and I'm going completely off narrative here. But I will say this, that going into what I'm about to say, Mr. Johnson was the catalyst for allowing my children to feel safe. My son Skylar spoke earlier. I'm super proud of him for doing so. It took a lot of effort for him to do that. Mr. Johnson did so many things for my children, 2 of which that are currently enrolled in high school here. And during what I'm about to speak about, I truly believe that he was probably a big reason for why we were receiving flowers on behalf of the school. But here's
what I'm here to talk about. Mr. Perello, you're very aware of why I am here, I'm sure, because we have spoken on this. But I'm here to talk on behalf of every parent that is out there that is too scared to. And I'm coming to you each individually with a kind heart. Also very nervous because I've never spoken in public. I've actually never been to any of these meetings in person before myself, and I'm still breathing. So bear with me. All of you as well. So let's talk about the zero tolerance policy. And I wrote some things up, so I'm just going to read it. Good evening, board, families, staff, and students. I come to you tonight humble but determined. I thank you in advance for allowing me the opportunity to speak about what has weighed so heavily on my mind for some time now. I'm a parent of 2 children who have been attending Eastwick Academy since kindergarten. So for over a decade now, we have been a part of the EWA family. Although we are all aware by now the anti-bullying law has been in place nationwide, as well as the policy for zero tolerance for bullying. The widespread epidemic of bullying and mental health continues to be problematic for the school, not just in high school, but also in middle school, and I only know that those 2 things, those 2 houses for a fact myself. I'm not sure about K-4. Our family, as well as a copious amount of others I know, have been impacted by this, though it doesn't ever seem to get any better. I would like to know what you are all doing to prevent, address, and handle culpable parties to ensure the safety and welfare of our children. I've personally been a victim of bullying, and when I say that, I mean that when someone's child is a victim of bullying, the whole household falls. The whole household falls as victim. Sadly, it is with great regret that I had to bury one of my children recently. It started with bullying at the age of 11 with him, and it continued until the age of his passing at 17. Who was there for him? I speak because no parent or family should have to bury their child, their friend, their family member, or their loved one due to the mishandling and complacency in regards to the obvious and outstanding number of youth that have been, and some that are currently still struggling with mental health as a result of such or otherwise. Over 14% of high school students have considered suicide, and almost 7% have attempted it. Bully victims are between 2 to 9 times more likely to consider suicide more than non-victims, according to studies currently conducted by Yale University. A recent study also showed that over half of suicidal deaths among young people were due to bullying.
Ms. Miller, we're bumping up against time.
She needs to finish.
Thank you.
I'll try to wrap it up.
Thank you.
It is our jobs as parents, teachers, leaders, and loved ones to make sure that the stigma stops somewhere. We can't change the world. But what we can do is hold ourselves accountable and each other accountable to ensure that the shift can happen in our own house. That house being y'all. Being this board right here, being all of y'all listening. That's where it starts. That's where we make change. And I don't even have to continue to read because I know I'm over time. But I know each and every one of you, not personally, but I know you're here for a reason. I know you decided to join the board for a reason, because you had a passion, a purpose, some determination or reason to make change or shift. And if I'm assuming, probably, most likely, all of you are parents as well. Probably, most likely, none of y'all have had to bury your children. So please, sir, do not dare cut me off. And so hearing about all of what happened with Mr. Johnson, and for you to sit on this board and be okay with that is appalling. First and foremost. Because I know Mr. Johnson was a man of God, and he was one of the best catalysts for this entire school. Pivotal. Right? You've heard alumni speak about what they did, what he did for them, and what he would have continued to do. You've heard me speak on where he had been. I'm sorry, do you need to clear your throat?
No.
Yeah. So, it's okay.
We got other people here to speak.
No, it's fine. I'm going to wrap it up with this.
We got plenty of time.
Please make sure in the future to do better as human beings, as board members, as administration, about the bullying and the lack of response thereof. Because I know that you know, and I'm talking to you, you're looking at me. Finally, you're looking at somebody, right?
Amen.
I know you know what's been going on. And no parents want to come up here and speak the truth, but I will. You're doing nothing about it. You're pushing families out that have been here for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years plus.
Amen.
Why? Because you don't want to handle it? You don't want to handle the truth of the bullying that is going on? Sit there and think about that as parents. I'm sure y'all are. Sorry, I'm a little heated, but rightfully so.
Yes.
Amen.
I'm going to bring it back down. Please, I want to rest with this. When we leave, when we drop our children off, or when our children drive to school, right? We want to trust and assure that they're in a safe place. And that they're being taken care of. Mm-hmm. They're not being bullied and ignored. Right? But that has consistently happened for years now. And people voice their concerns on the social media pages, and they voice their concerns with administrative staff members, nurses, teachers, you name it. And nothing is being done about it. So I would please encourage y'all to just reach within your hearts. Think about your own children. What would you do if it was your child? What would you do if it was your child? Because trust me when I tell you, you don't want to be in my shoes where you had to bury your child.
Amen.
Right before graduation, by the way.
I normally do not like public speaking, and I often have trembling hands and teary eyes when doing things outside of my comfort zone. I've been a student at Eastwick Academy for almost 3 years now. In those 3 years, never did I imagine that it would be anyone else besides Mr. Darrell Johnson handing me my diploma when I finally walk across that stage next spring. As someone who has been to several different schools, I can say with full confidence that Mr. Johnson is the best principal I have ever had. There is not a single student in this school that does not respect him. Mr. Johnson conducts himself in a calm and professional manner and always has an inspiring quote to motivate us students. I frequently enjoyed his iconic community meetings, and they just won't be the same without him. He united our school in a way that I truly believe no individual will be able to replicate. Mr. Johnson has an inspiring life story and has worked hard to become the successful man that he is today. I know I speak for many students when I say that he has personally inspired us to make positive changes in our attitudes and mindsets. He is a role model for us students, and I believe that he is genuinely a kind man who cares about his students like no one else. Mr. Johnson has been a mentor to many troubled students and deeply cares about their lives and their futures. I believe that he is determined to make a positive impact on every single student. Mr. Johnson has stood outside in both scorching hot and freezing cold temperatures to personally greet every student who walked through the high school door. Many times during community meetings, Mr. Johnson has encouraged us to speak about things that we believe unfair and encouraged us to come to board meetings. It is in the spirit of Mr. Johnson that I come to you today, voicing my opinion on the situation, which I can say that Mr. Johnson personally inspired me to do. I can't think of anyone better to run our school than Mr. Darrell Johnson, and I sincerely hope he will reconsider his position here at Eastwood Academy. Thank you for your time.
Particularly appreciate our students and former students who represented the school very well tonight. Next up on our agenda is the financial report. Mr. Dupree.
All right. Everybody should have gotten in their board drive, also gotten an email. The notes on our financial report, we are at 41% of our fiscal year at the end of November. So there's 59% remaining. We also put in the notes there that we may have an additional expense in our maintenance line with the elevator issue that we have in the elementary school. If you go to our critical financial metrics, you'll see our days cash on hand. We're in the green there. We're in good shape. Our enrollment is right on target. Our undocumented transactions are 0, which we love to see. But then you see our salaries as a percentage of revenue is in the red. One of those reasons is that we had to pay for insurance for the holidays coming up before we normally would have to pay it. Also, Prestige changed their formula, and where the salaries had been what was included in that, now they put the salaries in benefits, and so that's what changed that figure there. Also, if you look at our balance sheet, you can see that we do have some line items that are less than that 59% remaining. But if you look at those line items, they're not big line items, big numbers. Some of those line items, of course, would have been major purchases at the beginning of the year. And so I spoke with Anthony yesterday to see if he thought there would be any line items that we would need to change before the end of the year. At this point, we don't think there are. If you see our P&L versus budget, if you look at the back page of that, the total operating net income, you will see that that's in the negative. And just so everyone knows, that is because of our land purchase. That has been put in there, and so that's why it's showing in the negative. And lastly, last month I told you to start seeing expenses that were paid out. I want to be very transparent. with our finances. And so you see the list of them. My suggestion would be to look over them. If you've got any questions, see anything that doesn't look right, let me and Anthony know, and we will try to get the answers for you. And that is the financial report for this month.
Thank you, Wayne. Any questions for the treasurer? All right. Next up on tonight's agenda. We have the board committees. Do we have any board committee updates this evening? Okay. All right. Next up is admin report, and I don't think we're going to have closed session tonight. Mr. Perrello, admin report.
Thank you. We have the enrollment staffing numbers. You can see where we're at regarding our enrollment. It's stayed consistent. You can also see that under updates and new items, the LED light project is almost completed. The only reason it hasn't been fully completed is they needed a lift for Baker Hall and this hall, and that's coming. So the LED light project is completed in every other building. All 5 buildings have been completed other than those 2 areas. The high school carpool improvements sent emails to students and families. The goal for that is really twofold. One, to reduce the potential access at the crossing between the high school and the elementary. There were quite a few near misses over the last couple of years we've been watching over there, so this helps streamline that. And also, the fire chief had recently let us be known that the traffic on Gannon was being impacted during rush hour by our carpool. And so the way we redesigned it, we're taking more cars off the road and hoping to eliminate some of that congestion on Gannon off of Industrial during peak hours especially. The Eagle Foundation, the bylaws are ready to review. We're going to look to schedule a meeting. I've asked Amanda Boykin to reach out to the board members who are going to be participating with that, be able to schedule a time for us in January to have our first meeting so we can move forward with that. We have no new required policies. We do have only one board action item tonight. It is the 25-26 school calendar, and that is all we have to report.
Mr. Perrello, has the expense for the new lights hit the financials yet?
No.
Okay. When do we know when that will hit?
The earliest would be January financials, which would be the February board.
Okay, thank you.
That's the earliest.
Do we want to look at the calendar then? Mr. Perrello, the only thing that I saw, and I don't think we can do anything about it, is sort of the 3 days that we end up with after our spring break and before Easter. I don't like it, but I don't think we can do anything about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not ideal, but because we have bad amount of hours in required by the state and because of our modified year-round schedule, we really don't have many other options. This was the best option.
The only other question that I had were the different instructional hours down at the bottom. You know, what the reason is for that, and does it make any difference?
Those are we have each level, elementary, middle, and high school, has different instructional hours required by the state. And what that does is it shows that we're in compliance with those. And it also gives us an opportunity for snow days. This year, the gas situation that happened in the high school, for example, that allows us to be in a position to not have to make that difference.
Any other calendar questions or comments? And if not, I would entertain a motion to approve the proposed 2025-26 calendar.
Motion to approve the 25-26 calendar as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the proposed 2025-2026 calendar. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. We have our calendar approved. Mr. Perella, would that go up on the school website pretty quickly?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to, person administrator's website tomorrow morning, and then, actually, I would prefer also on Friday when I send out my letter, I'll include it for that.
All right, so everybody can start planning breaks for next year. Anything else under admin? Does anybody else have anything for tonight's meeting? As I say, I don't think we have anything for closed session. Wayne, you want to hit it?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn tonight's meeting. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, guys.
So we don't even get to ask questions about anything? If anything, then probably we have the right questions. So that makes sense. I think we did take up a song like an hour ago.